Perfect wisdom, with the divisions of the Abhishamaya. Translated by Edward Conze. University of California Press, Berkeley, Los Angeles, London. Translation of the Sutra. Chapter 7. Entrance into the certainty of salvation. Degrees of ripeness of insight. Subhuti. A bodhisattva should train in perfect wisdom if he wants to fulfill the 6 perfections, to comprehend form, etc. To forsake greed, hate, and delusion, the fetters, unwholesome tendencies and obsessions, the yokes, the 4 floods, the 4 bonds, the 4 graspings, the 4 perverted views. To forsake the 10 unwholesome ways of acting and to fulfill the 10 wholesome ways of acting, etc. 2. If he wants to fulfill the intentions of all beings. When he has fulfilled all these wholesome roots, he will as a result not fall into the states of woe, is not reborn in low-class families, does not abide on the level of a disciple or pratyekabuddha. In addition, such a bodhisattva does not fall from the summits. Sariputra. How does a bodhisattva fall from the summits? Subhuti. When he courses without skill in means in the 6 perfections. One speaks of the rawness of a bodhisattva if, having entered on the concentrations of emptiness, the sign-less, and the wish-less, he does not fall on the level of a disciple or a pratyekabuddha, but, being unskilled in means, also does not enter into a bodhisattva's distinctive way of salvation. Sariputra. For what reason is that called a bodhisattva's rawness? Subhuti. A bodhisattva's craving for separate dharmas is called rawness. The aids to penetration. A. Weak heat with regard to the truth of ill. Sariputra. What is the craving for separate dharmas? Subhuti. Here a bodhisattva, who courses in perfect wisdom, settles down in the idea that form, etc. is impermanent, insists on it and holds it to be true. This is called the rawness of adaptable craving for separate dharmas on the part of a bodhisattva. And the same holds good when he settles down in such ideas as form, etc. is ill, not self, empty, sign-less, wish-less. B. Weak heat with regard to the truth of origination. Or in, this is form, etc. should be forsaken, by him form, etc. should be forsaken. This ill should be comprehended, by him ill should be comprehended. This origination should be forsaken, by him origination should be forsaken. A. Weak heat with regard to the truth of stopping. This stopping should be realized, by him stopping should be realized. This is defilement, this purification. These dharmas should be tended, those should not be tended. Here a bodhisattva should course, there he should not course. This is the path of a bodhisattva, that is not. This is the training of a bodhisattva, that is not. This is a bodhisattva's perfection of giving, etc. That is not. That is the ripening of the bodhisattva, the great being. If a bodhisattva, who courses in perfect wisdom, settles down in these dharmas, insists on them, holds them to be truly real, that is the rawness of his acting in conformity with the craving for separate dharmas. Sariputra. What is the ripening of a bodhisattva? Subhuti. Here a bodhisattva, who courses in perfect wisdom, does not review the subjective objective emptiness in the subjective emptiness, nor the subjective in the objective, nor the subjective objective in the objective, nor the objective in the subjective, nor the emptiness of emptiness in the subjective emptiness, and so on for all the kinds of emptiness. It is thus that a bodhisattva, who courses in perfect wisdom, enters into the ripening of a bodhisattva. D. Weak heat with regard to the truth of the path. Thought transparently luminous. A bodhisattva, who courses in perfect wisdom, should train himself to cognize form, etc. To develop the limbs of enlightenment, etc. And to cognize the 18 Buddha Dharmas. But he should not fancy himself for any of this. It is thus that a bodhisattva who courses in perfect wisdom, should cognize his thought of enlightenment, should cognize his even thought, should cognize his exalted thought, but should not because of that, fancy himself. And why? Because that thought is a non-thought, since in its essential original nature it is transparently luminous. Sariputra. What is the transparent luminosity of thought? Subhuti. It is a thought which is neither conjoined with greed, nor disjoined from it, which is neither conjoined with hate, delusion, obsessions, coverings, unwholesome tendencies, fetters, or what makes for views, nor disjoined from these. Sariputra. That thought which is a non-thought, is that something which is. Subhuti. Does there exist, or can one apprehend, in this state of absence of thought, either a there is or a there is not? Sariputra. No, not that. Subhuti. Was it then a suitable question when the then Sariputra asked whether that thought which is a non-thought is something which is? Sariputra. What then is this state of absence of thought? Subhuti. It is without modification or discrimination. It is the true nature of all dharmas. This is called the unthinkable no-thoughthood. Sariputra. And just as that no-thoughthood is without modification or discrimination, in the same way also form, and all dharmas up to enlightenment, are without modification or discrimination. Subhuti. So it is, Sariputra. Sariputra. Well said. Well said. Subhuti. For you are the Lord's legitimate son, born from his mouth, a child of the Dharma, conjured up by the Dharma, an heir to the Dharma, not an heir according to the flesh, an immediate eyewitness of these Dharmas. Your exposition is that of the one whom the Lord has declared to be the foremost of the disciples who dwell in peace. Thus, as you say, Subhuti, should a bodhisattva train in perfect wisdom. This is the reason why a bodhisattva should be considered as incapable of turning away from full enlightenment, and be known as one who is not lacking in perfect wisdom. The distinctive causality for all the vehicles and degrees. Whether he wants to train on the level of a disciple, a pratyekabuddha or a Buddha, a bodhisattva should listen to this perfection of wisdom, learn it, bear it in mind, recite, study, and wisely consider it. And why? Because here in this perfection of wisdom are expounded in detail the three careers in which the bodhisattvas, the great beings, as well as the disciples and pratyekabuddhas should train. End chapter 7.